everyone and welcome to my little corner. In this video, I'm gonna be reviewing 3 popular Emily Henry books, and they are Book Lovers, Beach Read, and People We Meet on Vacation. Now, I'm going to be reviewing them in the order that I read them, and that is starting with Book Lovers. I guess it was a book talk popular book. So yeah, I was like, everyone is raging about it, so I'm gonna read it. And honestly, once in a while, there will be a book that is so popular for no reason. And I'm not trying to hate the book, I'm just saying there's nothing special about the book. So I don't really understand how this book became such a sensation, if you will. So before I go more into what I thought of the book, I want to first give you a little summary of what the book is about. So the main characters are Nora and Charlie. So they both work in the book editing publishing industry. Nora meets with Charlie to ask him to edit a book from one of Nora's clients, and Charlie is kind of rude to her, and they don't get off on the right foot. He kind of criticizes the book that he doesn't like it, so immediately they're like enemies, right? Because of course they have to be. So sometime later, Nora's sister Libby makes Nora go with her on vacation to this tiny little small town called Sunshine Falls, which is also one of the place settings for one of Nora's clients' books. And there, of course, Nora runs into Charlie, of course, because you guessed it, he is from that town. So Nora's sister it's pretty strange. Nora's sister is really strange. She makes a whole list of all the things that they gotta do in that town. She basically wants Nora to have a Hallmark type romance. Nora and Charlie end up working together in the town's bookshop, and then they're also working together in some books. I don't know. Details are getting fuzzy in my head. So the whole book is set in this little town. And I guess the vibe is supposed to be cozy, but honestly, I didn't get the cozy vibe. If anything, I was kind of feeling claustrophobic. There's really only a few places in town, and the characters only go to the same 2 places every single day. So there's a bookstore, and then there's a cafe with a funny name. And besides those, there's also the house or Airbnb that Nora and her sister Libby are staying at. They're always running into each other. Like Nora and Charlie, they're basically always together. I think the main problem between Nora and Charlie is the lack of chemistry. So even though in the beginning it might seem fun and okay, they're still getting to know each other, I just didn't really connect to their characters. Charlie is the guy that always knows the right thing to say, and he always says the right thing in the right moment. You know, all of their conversations were banter, but it didn't feel lighthearted and fun. Most of the time, it just felt forced. The author just wanted these characters so bad to be funny and witty, and look at this banter and look at all the chemistry that they have. Actually, it felt pretty flat for me. I think their relationship had no sparks, and it was so bland. But honestly, the main issue that I have with the book is Nora's sister, Libby. Like, what even was that? I really didn't like it that Libby, Nora's sister, is the one that dragged her to that city, and she had a whole plan and a list of things for them to do, but every single day she would disappear doing things, and then when Nora would ask her, like, what did you do all day, she wouldn't tell her. Libby would just disappear all day and then get defensive or not answer where she's been. And it was like, I guess it was supposed to be a mystery, and I guess that was supposed to build up to some shocking revelation at the ending of the book. But that was really annoying. Like, if I went on vacation with someone to some place I didn't even want to go to in the first place, and then that person disappears and leaves me alone all day and then not even tell me what they've been doing, I would be so upset. And also, in line of all this, on Goodreads, if you read the Goodreads plot summary, in the very beginning, I think, it says, one summer, two rivals, a plot twist they didn't see coming. You know, I really hate it when the blurb of a book is so misleading and is talking about something that doesn't even exist. There's no shocking twist. There's no surprise. Whatever her sister is up to that's leading to a big surprise plot twist in the end of the book, I'm telling you, it wasn't exciting, it wasn't shocking, it was just meh. Nora's character was very problematic. She is obsessed with babying her sister. She's always tending to her sister, always trying to make sure that she's fine, she's happy, she's well tended for, like she's a baby. Her sister is a grown adult. She can make her own decisions and she can take care of herself. And this whole babying her sister obsession was way too much. Of course, there's a whole background story to that of why Nora is like this, but even that backstory did not justify or really make up for that behavior. So in conclusion, I was not a big fan of the book. I give it 3 stars. It was pretty bland and not worth the hype in my opinion. Actually, out of all the 3 books that I read, this was my least favorite. And now I'm gonna talk about people we meet on vacation. I'm telling you, I knew how the book was gonna go in the first 10 pages. It's predictable, but it was still fun to see it played out. So in this one, we have Alex and Poppy. They've been friends for a decade, and it looks like 2 years ago they had a falling out, which they only really revealed to us what actually happened towards the end of the book. And the book also, like every chapter, it keeps jumping from the present to X summers ago. I think it goes from like 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, like that until the present, but always switching between the past and the present. So Poppy looks like she's in the middle of an existential crisis, and she's talking to her friend. She realizes that what she needs to be happy again is to be with Alex, be friends with him again, hang out with him like the good old days. So Poppy and Alex, basically, they have a tradition almost that they just go on vacation together. Every summer, they go on vacation together. And Poppy actually works for a travel magazine, so she gets to travel for free. What a life. And still, she's not happy and satisfied with her life anymore. That's why she was like, you know what? I want to take a vacation with Alex again. And this one is not even going to be on the company's money because they did not approve that vacation. I think where they're going is Palm Springs. I'm actually not 100% sure anymore where the vacation was, but basically she's going to Alex's brother's wedding. The wedding is not even the focus of the book at all. I think they spent a whole week there, but the wedding is like at the very end of the week, like the very last day, and then it happens really quick and wraps up really quickly. So because they have to go on this vacation, they're gonna do it old school and do it the cheap way. Also because her company is not gonna pay for it, it's gonna come out of her pocket. So she gets this really cheap Airbnb, and there's a problem with the AC. The AC doesn't work. That Airbnb, it's a sauna, and they are struggling with that AC situation. Anyway, that was actually really funny, and that AC, if it wasn't for that AC, I don't know if they would ever come together. So I just really enjoyed knowing their story. It's not just the present time. In the present, like, we already know they had a falling out, so they are, you know, trying their best to reconnect and try to have the chemistry that they used to have. I mean, they've been best friends for 10 years. Also, because the book keeps going to the past, you get a lot of their background and their story. I really enjoyed it. They had so much chemistry. Like, their chemistry is the complete opposite of book lovers. They are just so good together. They have so much chemistry. I was rooting for them the whole time. Also waiting. I really wanted to know, like, what even happened 2 years ago. They had a lot of banter, but their banter was actually really funny. And I was just waiting for them to realize that they were in love with each other. But yeah, I give the book 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. Actually, this one was my favorite out of the 3. And lastly, it's time to talk about Beach Read. This book actually starts off a little heavy. So the book starts off by mentioning that January, the main character, January's mom has had cancer more than once. And then it kind of jumps to her dad died, like just died. And she also finds out that her dad, before he died, he was cheating on her mom. And he had a beach house where he lived with the mistress. So she's an author, and she's having a hard time with the whole situation, accepting all of this information that she found out. She cannot accept or is having a hard time confronting the fact that her dad was having an affair. She's having writer's block. She has a deadline to finish her new book. So she actually moves into her dad's beach house, basically to sort things out. She wants to empty the house, sell things, and then possibly at the end sell the house. Also, before dying, her dad left her a letter or some letters for her, but even up till now, I think it's been months, maybe even a year, I'm not sure, but she hasn't had the courage to read the letter. And while on the beach house, one night the neighboring house is having really loud music and she's getting really annoyed. She's trying to sleep and she can't. It's like a party club next door, and that's where she meets her college nemesis, Augustus, aka Gus. So Gus, turns out, is also an author. So now they have a little competition going on. In January, she writes romance novels, or like books like this, rom-coms. And Gus writes like serious literary fiction books, where he does a lot of research. He's very skeptical about romance. He doesn't believe that romance lasts. So he kind of critiques her books and the whole romance idea that he doesn't really believe in. But actually, later in the book, we actually find out why he's like this, which I'm not going to mention. No spoilers. But they actually start warming up to each other and they start talking a lot and hanging out. And they decide, they have a grand idea to help each other get out of their writing rut that they're in, because they have deadlines to finish books. So they kind of gave a challenge to each other where they're gonna write opposing genre books. So Gus is gonna write a romance and January would write a literary fiction book. And then they would help each other do research for their books. January is gonna take Gus on some fun romantic dates for his romance book. And then Gus, it's a little weird. He takes her to interview some people that were part of a cult. It was weird. So the dates that they have are actually pretty fun. And, you know, obviously they're starting to realize that maybe they're not enemies, you know, maybe they're okay. Maybe they're fun to hang out with. January also runs into her dad's mistress a few times, and it's very awkward and uncomfortable, and she does not want to talk to her or face her at all. And then there's also this really cute and funny book club that apparently only reads Russian spy books. Like, at first they're really excited to have 2 authors in their little town, and then they invite them to book club. And of course, as being authors, they automatically assume that they're gonna talk about their books, but turns out it's not. they're just talking about spy novels. My favorite part of the book was when January, like I said, they are neighbors. They both are in beach houses and they live right next door to each other. And my favorite part was when they started writing messages on paper and then talking to each other through the window, like the Taylor Swift's music video. And it was funny because the first time that happened, immediately I was thinking, oh, that reminds me of that Taylor Swift's video. And then as I continued reading, like right after, they actually mentioned, oh yeah, that reminds me of the Taylor Swift music video. Also, they had a lot of chemistry. They were so fun together. There were a lot of funny lines where I actually laughed out loud. But they're also going through personal stuff. Like again, January is going through the whole thing with the dead, still trying to open the letter, trying to get some closure on it and just accept it. And of course, Gus is also going through something. And I don't want to talk about it because I feel like that's a big reveal and surprise and I don't want to spoil the book. But he also has stuff going on. And lastly, the last thing I want to mention about the book, the little ironic and also like the cover. Even though it's called Beach Read and in the cover it looks like they are on towels on the beach reading, they don't actually go on the beach. They both have beach houses, but I don't remember them ever going to the beach. So yeah, I also give this book 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Very lighthearted, but with the little dark topics. You know, they're going through a lot, but they're helping each other out. Also, how cute do these look? I love when all the books match. How cute does this look on a shelf? And that was my review of 3 of the most popular Emily Henry's books. What did you think of these books? Have you read any of these 3 books? And if you did, let me know in the comments what you thought of them. If you read all 3, let me know what your favorite one was. So yeah, this is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.